again. Thank you guys. First of all, I hope everybody's well, and thank you all for all your comments and nice words on my last video. I mean, the video I made about living in Poland. So I got a lot of questions, and I thought it would be fair to make a video about it, answering these questions. And if you have any more questions, just leave them down below, and hopefully I will be able to make another video again answering those questions. So I'm just going to start from the first question I received. This was by Mahmoud Kone. I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrongly. Please forgive me. So Mr. Mahmoud said, asked if the people or if Polish people here are racist. And my comment was, I've experienced racism and racist attacks, but I will also say that I have lovely Polish friends. And yeah, that is really, really true. I don't want to categorize the whole Polish population into one group and call every single Pole a racist. Not everyone is a racist. I have really nice friends, and even strangers will come up to me in public and tell me how beautiful I am, will come up to me and ask me where I'm from. I mean, just general interest. So not everyone is a racist. And again, even the people that have this aggression towards foreigners are so small. Their numbers are so small. So it's just a very, very, very tiny amount of the population that are angry or that display this kind of racist behavior towards foreigners. So if you come here, you have nothing to worry about, because majority of people you meet every day are nice and very friendly. And also he wanted to know how much it is to live here and if it's always hot. Well, first of all, I'm going to answer about the weather. Poland is a temperate region, so here there are four seasons. There are 4 seasons per year. There is the winter, the spring, summer, and autumn. Right now it's the summer, so it's quite hot. In the summer it can get quite hot, especially this year. Oh, this year was so hot. 2 weeks ago it was like almost 38 degrees. It was really, really warm. During the winter it's cold as usual. I mean, how winter can be. Winter is always cold. So there is the cold, there's the cold times, and there is also the warm period. So yeah, that's the answer to the question. And he also asked how much it is to live or survive here. Well, depending on, as I said in the video, or as I said in my comments, the cost of living largely depends on the individual, right? So for instance, instead of me living in a flat, which would be more expensive, I decided to live in a hostel, which is cheaper. And living in a hostel, I don't have to worry about bills. I don't have to worry about the gas, the electricity, the heat bill, the water bill. Only thing I pay is my rent per month, and that's it. So if you live in a flat or in a very expensive flat, so you have to take into consideration these bills or these incurring expenses. So that's all I'll say about that. But majorly, if you're going to live in the hostel, like for example, the hostel I stay, I pay approximately 200 euros per month, and that's it. That's all I pay per month. In feeding, if you're going to buy food per month, it's comparable to all other European countries. It's not a big deal. If you're by yourself, I'm very sure someone can survive on 150 euros per month on feeding. In fact, I'm even exaggerating. I'm sure you'd be able to survive on 100 euros per month if you cook at home. And yeah, so that's it really. So that's it for Mr. Mahmoud. The next question I was asked was by someone named 20 pounds. He said that he does not have any family members or friends in Poland, so he's worried and he needs someone to be his sponsor, and how can he get a job or a house. Now, about the subject of sponsorship, I got a few questions about that, and to answer that question, I will leave a link down below to a website. It's an official website of the Polish immigration laws. There you would see you see answers that concerns sponsorship. But if I can just briefly answer that question, here it says you're not obliged to have a sponsor, right? So if you get a job, all you have to do is just apply with your job contract, and get a working permit. So you're not obliged to get a sponsor. In comparison, or in contrast to countries like maybe the US, the UK, or Canada, where you need to have a sponsor, here you don't. It's not compulsory. You know what I mean? And also, he said, how can he get a house? Well, there's a website. I'm also going to leave that website down below. There are so many portals and websites here that you can search for accommodations. And according to your taste, the location, how many rooms you want, and also according to the rent range, so the price range. All right, and also okay, I think that's it for £20. Oh, he also asked how long I must stay, or someone must stay in Poland to become a citizen. I'm also going to leave that in that website. I'll leave down below. There's also the official answer to that question. But just to briefly answer that question, you have to stay in Poland for 5 years, for 5 continuous years, to be able to apply for the permanent residence. When you apply for this permanent residence, they'll give you a 10-year residency card. And after that 10 years, or within that 10 years, if you have good record, you can apply for the passport. But there are also exceptions to staying. There are also some rules concerning this 5-year continuous stay. You must be in, okay, here it says that one of the conditions of obtaining EU long-term residency is continuous and legal residence in Poland for at least 5 years directly prior to lodging the application for this permit. It does not mean, however, that you may not leave Poland for the whole period of 5 years. You may leave Poland for the period not exceeding 10 months in total. And individual trips may not, however, last longer than 6 months. So this is basically saying that you have to stay in Poland for 5 years continuously, and within that 5 years you can travel for summer, you can travel for family business or whatever. But if you accumulate, or if you add all those times you traveled within the 5 years, they must not be more than 10 months. Or if you take an individual trip, it must not be longer than 6 months. That's it. So that's the basic rule to applying for this permanent residence, amongst other rules like not being a criminal and all that jazz. Okay, the next question. Mr. Manish Pokral. Okay. Sorry, my battery ran out, so I decided to pause the video. Decided to charge my camera, and now I'm back to recording. Okay, so I'm gonna take Mr. Manish Pokral's question. He said that he is from Nepal and he wishes to come to Poland, and how can he get permanent residency in Poland, and how much time he needs to take his wife here. Permanent residency, I already stated earlier the requirements to getting a permanent residency. And you can bring your wife here, or bring your family here, as far as you're able to prove that you're financially able or capable of taking care of them. So you would have to provide evidence of the salary you make at work, or how much money you have in your account, just to show something that you are able to financially take care of them. And once you have that, you can bring your family or wife anytime you want. That is no problem at all. And £20 again asked another question. He said he has both African parents. He wants to move to Poland and live and work here, and he's planning to apply for Polish citizenship. What do I think? Well, if you do not have ancestral lineage to any Pole or any Polish citizen, or you do not have any link, any family or blood link, it is impossible for you to apply for Polish citizenship, except through the requirements I have stated earlier, which is you have to stay here for 5 years continuously, and so on, so on, so. So it is impossible for you to apply for Mr. £20. It is impossible for you to apply for Polish citizenship, except you fulfill these requirements I mentioned earlier. Another person, Mr. Mason Doyle, said he's thinking of learning Polish. Oh, that's really good. it's possible, right? It's a feasible thing. It's something. It's realistic. There are a lot of foreigners here that speak Polish, so all you have to do is when you come here, you can enroll in a language school, or better still, you can just mingle around, make friends, and try as much as possible to communicate with people. That way, you'll be able to learn faster. But if you want to learn the basics, which things like the grammar aspect of the language, then I would suggest you enroll in a language school. That will help a great deal. Mr. Spencer said that he believes Poland is a long gap from above Belarus. I don't really understand that question. Do you mean the distance or the economic status? I'd appreciate if you expatiate more on that question. Mr. Sachin asked if asked that he would like to know living expenses for 1 month and how much he can make for 1 month's salary. Well, as I mentioned earlier, also living expenses, it really largely depends on the individual. So depends on your, I don't know, your way of life, right? Your style of living. If you like to live in somewhere very expensive, if you like to live very extravagant, then obviously it's going to cost more for you than someone else, and you both are living in the same country. So it largely really depends on you. But I'm going to leave, as I said, I'm going to leave a link down below to a website for searching for rent or accommodation. There you can compare prices of accommodations and in putting factors in, like because there are options for filters, so you can filter in for how many bedrooms and the location and stuff like that. And Mr. Mana asked if he can work here. Yeah, it is possible for you to work. If you're a student, you are allowed to work, and if you come here in a working permit, obviously you're allowed to work. The only visa that is not allowed, the only visa holders that are not allowed to work are visitors and tourists. So you're not allowed to work if you're a tourist or if you're a visitor. If you're a student you are allowed to work, and also if you're here on a working permit. And Mr. Lil Bahadur asked if he can get jobs in hotel and restaurants and how much he can make, and if he'll be able to pay for his study why staying here in Poland. Well, there are jobs available in hotels and restaurants, but for foreigners, I don't think it's realistic enough for you to think you'll get a job in a hotel or a restaurant. Largely because Poland, the native language there is Polish. Even though I mentioned in my earlier video that the language is not a huge barrier, but even still, majority of people that go to these places, for example, like hospitals, hostels, they are Polish citizens, and so you would need to at least be able to communicate in this language for you to be able to work in places like this. But if you were to work in the kitchen, I suppose you don't need to speak English if you were to work in the kitchen. But yeah, it is possible to get jobs in hotels and restaurants, but do not depend on getting a job like that and just coming blindly to Poland. You have to have made some inquiries and made some research and know that you're going to get a job this time and you're going to start earning money so time. Mr. Smok Wawelski said really good impression of Poland, and thank you. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, you live in Krakow. That is really awesome. That's so nice. Krakow is very, very close to this place. It's like 90 minutes from here. You can go and come back to my city the same day. So that's really nice. Thank you, Mr. Wawelski. Mr. Robert Lenatowicz. That sounds like a Polish name or like a Slavic name. I don't know if you're from Poland, but he said, thanks for sharing my stories about Poland. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your nice words. Thank you. Mr. or Miss Jenna asked if I see myself living here for good and what the rent is like and what the average price for one bedroom is. Well, yes, to answer your question, yes, I see myself living here for good if given the opportunity to. Because I don't know if I mentioned this earlier in my previous video. I'm a creature of habit, so when I get used to something, I become comfortable, and so I've been here for over 8 years now, and I'm already comfortable here. In fact, I regard this place like my second home. So if given the opportunity, or if things were easier, or if it was possible, of course, Poland is somewhere I see myself living in forever. The thing is, people move from one place to another thinking there's like a better life somewhere else. I remember when I came here 2007, I came here with a friend. Actually, I didn't come here with a friend, but I met her here. She's a foreigner also. And after, I think, 9 months, she moved to Canada. And you would think, well, Canada is better than Europe or something like that, that she wouldn't complain. She still complains. So that's to show you that no matter where you go, if you do not define what happiness is for you, or if you do not define what contentment is for you, or if you do not define what satisfaction is for you, no matter where you move to, you will always complain. Even if you move to heaven, you will still find something to complain of. So my advice, or my mentality actually, is that if I'm somewhere, I try to just make that place home. Find things that will make me happy. If I cannot find anything, I should be able to create an environment that I will be happy in. But if it's really, really bad, then obviously you have to leave the place. But if you're somewhere, if you're somewhere and you are safe, I just feel like try to make it home for yourself. Try to create environments for yourself that will try to create like an environment around you that will make you happy or satisfied or content with what you have at that very moment. Because if you keep moving from one country to another, from one continent to another, trust me, you will always find something to complain about. Poland is a really good country, very nice people, it's a standard society, and it's comparable to almost every other Western country in the West. So I have a job, I have an accommodation, I'm comfortable, I eat, I sleep, I wake up, everything is fine. So I see myself really living here for good if given the opportunity to. And the person also asked what the rent is like and what the average price per bedroom. For a studio apartment, I would say averagely $350-400 averagely per month, and that would be like the lowest, I think. So averagely maybe $500, depending on the location, right? So studio apartment may be here, and there's another one in the middle of the center of the town. The prices would differ, even if they are basically the same space, the same kind of house, but just different location will also determine the price or the rent. Okay, I guess that's it really. I guess. All right, yes, and I got another question from Williama. I'm sorry I was not able to reply to your question because for one reason or another there was no reply option under your question. So I'm just going to answer it here. You asked for foreign students what kind of work we can do and what is the best job we can have while we study. Well, I've been here for 8 years and I've been tutoring for 7 years, since 2008. So I would say that tutoring is basically the best, the most available, that's the word, the most available job for foreign students. This is because of the fact that you don't speak Polish as a foreigner or as a new person to this country. So the best thing would be to tutor in a language that you speak. So that's one of the most available jobs for foreign students here. And it's not, you will not get rich from tutoring, but you'll be able to sustain yourself, right? Well, I hope I've been able to answer your question. If you have any confusion or if you don't understand anything I've been saying, please leave a question down below this video. I would make another video hopefully and answer your questions or concerns. Thank you very much. Have a lovely week and see you in my next video. Bye.